was gone. Thought that we was ghosts. Some legends that may or may not be true. Come on, man. The souls is here forever. Don't be tripping.
Peace and love, everybody. Shakesha Bell back on the scene.
But the fact is, we never left. True souls stand forever. That's that Pearl 2 silent assassin. Floor 13. I'm a Buddha man, clone don't like Destro. Plus, I got this true status, collect the dough. So I can cop a crib and a pick.
Little bit of that picket fence that I was jamming too. I just wanted to say peace and love to everybody, and hopefully everyone's aware of that super moon that's out today. It's also going to be at its peak early in the morning at like 8:52 today or tomorrow. So you definitely want to take advantage of this energy that's out there now. They say that the moon is shifting into Taurus, which is all about that balance and stabilization and all of that. But this is an opportunity for you to unleash your gifts, get your breakthroughs on whatever it is. If you're trying to get that weight loss thing going, if you've been trying to quit smoking, quit drinking, or whatever other habits that's not serving you, this would be the time to start trying to take advantage of that energy. Also, you want to move past a lot of insecurities during this time. This is the time to take advantage of making any of those shifts in the direction that you want to go in, and let go of energy that is no longer serving you. Also, this is a time for you to tap in to some gifts. So I would encourage you to take advantage of this super moon energy. You definitely want to do that. I wanted to talk a little bit about manifestation, since now that we have this super moon coming up. Let's talk about that. Like, how are we going to make that happen? How does that go about? So what you really want to start doing is working on some visualization. You need to see it happening. You need to see it. So let's say that you want to get yourself into a healthier condition. So you need to see that. Like, what are you going to look like? How are you going to look in that new outfit? You need to be able to feel it. How is it going to feel? You know, how are you going to feel when you get to the place that you want to be, when you succeed? Maybe it's something as mundane as you want to get a brand new car, a Mercedes Benz or something like that. How are you going to feel when you're sitting in that car? What does those leather seats feel like when they heat up on you? What color is it? What does it smell like? You need to experience it completely in order to really make this manifest for you. You have to visualize. That is the key to that. There's ways in really making it, like really getting that energy to like really work for you. It's in the emotions. The power is in the emotions. So you definitely want to make sure that you're feeling this whole experience that you're trying to manifest for yourself. Another, well, not even another way, but another technique that you really want to use is probably about programming your subconscious mind. And how do you do that? Like, what are some ways of programming the subconscious mind? Now, the subconscious mind is your most powerful thing. That's the thing that has you doing things that you don't want to do. How you picked up a lot of those bad habits, how you picked up a lot of the good habits. A lot of things that's all about you is all about what's going on in that subconscious mind. So here's so you want to work towards reprogramming that subconscious mind. And the ways that you reprogram that subconscious mind is through three ways: through trauma, through symbols, and through repetition. So when I say through trauma, have you ever noticed that people go through like rites of passage or something like that, or a traumatic experience where people are abused, or, you know what I'm saying, molested or something like that? And a lot of time that that programs the subconscious mind for a lot of things. So I can use myself as an example on how I was able to manifest for myself. With me, I was able to make a lot of changes in my life. I was able to completely changed my condition, my health, my overall health condition. I had, you know, some things that I was struggling with. I was also really overweight, and I was able to reverse that condition by dropping 50 pounds up off of myself, you know, and reversing a lot of the conditions that was causing me a lot of distress for my life. So how did I do that? How did I do that? Through the subconscious reprogramming of the mind. So let's talk about like what was going on with that. So let me start off with like the trauma piece. With the trauma piece, I can say that what was very traumatic for me was the pain that I was experiencing at that particular point in my life. Um, I wasn't really too worried about being overweight because, hey, that's what it was, you know. So me being overweight, I'm eating chicken wings, I'm eating steaks, I'm eating just about everything except for the hog at that particular point in my life, and plenty of it, because I like to eat. And I'm going to tell you something. If the chicken wing would have done me the honor, I would have married the chicken wing. That's where I was at that particular time. But I was able to reprogram myself to take in a plant-based diet, which reversed my health and reversed my condition. So the trauma was what was that motivation to help me to move forward. So that was one thing that helped me to prepare me to get myself in that position. The other thing was symbols. Now, what did I use as symbols? I used rosemary. Rosemary, I would put on a cotton ball, or I would just take the vial. I would inhale it, and I would tell myself that I was going to reverse my condition, that I was going to begin taking care of myself. So I used a self-healing affirmation that, you know, I will make sure that I eat a home-cooked meal at least 90% of the time. I think I found it somewhere on the internet or something like that. And I took those pieces that I could use and eliminated a lot of those things that I didn't need to use. I made sure I programmed myself to do meditation. I programmed myself to exercise. I programmed myself to eat healthy foods. And I would tell myself this. So I would get in the mirror and I would use the rosemary and I would inhale it and I would tell it to myself. So that was the symbols that I used. I also used a lot of crystals that helped me out with that. So at that particular time, I was working on my will, which is dealing with the solar plexus chakra. So I used the yellow crystal citrine, which works well with the solar plexus chakra to help me to propel in that. And also I wanted to work with my mind and my intuition as well. And so I also worked with the amethyst crystal, which is purple crystal, which lined up with that purple chakra. This was just my thing. I'm not here trying to dispute anybody else's way or anybody else's science and how they did it. I'm telling you about what worked for me and how I was able to do that. So those were the symbols that I used. Some other people, they use signs, they use, you know, a lot of symbols like the Ankh or all of those things. All of those things will work. Whatever works for you. Some people put things up on their altars. Like me, I like that lion. That helps me to remember about my courage and, you know, moving forward. And you know what I'm saying? I work with Ganesh and I keep that on my altar. You know, there's a lot of things that I keep on my altar. And those are all symbols that will help my subconscious mind to go into the direction that I want it to go in. The other thing, repetition. So repetition, like I said, going back again, no self-healing notes. I'm going to eat healthy foods. I'm going to eat, you know, a plant-based diet. I'm going to eliminate foods that no longer serve me. I'm going to avoid dairy products. I'm going to, you know, eat nothing that's dead. And so at the end of the day, my mind started to notice that I started to see food that was like an animal. It looked like a carcass on a plate. So after a while, it started to shift my mind into seeing it as like a dead body on the plate. And it was just like not desirable to me anymore. And as much as I love chicken, especially those wings, it was starting to look like there was a skeleton on the plate and a dead bone. So I could sit back and watch my husband like devour chicken wings, and it would look horrible to me. And he liked to put a lot of hot sauce on it and everything. So that made it look like it was just like bones and blood, and it was just foul, and I just was completely turned off by it. So So I was able to get my mind to shift into that direction just by using those visualizations, those symbols, the repetition and the trauma from the pain and the aggravation and the surgery and all of that madness that I had to go through. So for me, it wasn't necessarily that I wanted to save the animals or save anybody. I wanted to save me. So I decided that I was going to make this change and used visualizations and reprogramming my subconscious mind in order to heal myself. I wonder how you can take that and use that for any other things. Well, I ain't even going to wonder. I already know, because now that I started applying that, not only just to my health, I started applying that to a whole lot of other things. But here's the biggest thing that I want you to all realize, that if you don't believe it, it's not going to work for you. There's nothing that can be done about disbelief. If you don't believe it, if you don't think that it's not going to happen, this is all what's going on in your mind, and this is about your thought process. So if it's not working for you, if you don't think that it's going to happen for you, then it's not going to happen for you, and leave it alone. Because if you doubt in the power of yourself, then it's not going to happen for you. This is what the whole purpose of internal locus is all about, because that power is within you. You have to learn how to manifest that and unlock that power within yourself so that you can get yourself into a place that you want to be in. However, if you want to depend on something outside of yourself, if you think that there's something that's going to show up and save you, or somebody that's going to show up and save you, well, you go right ahead and you wait for that. But I'm here to tell you that the power is in you. I'm here to tell you that because I was able to make this happen for myself. Now, here's what I did. Okay, so I talked about how I dropped to 50 pounds. And that was and you know what, now that I think about that, that was a year ago, just about a year ago today, because I took advantage of that 11/11 energy and went ahead and started making some changes in my life. It wasn't necessarily about a supermoon. I don't even think that I even thought on that level. I just was like, you know what, now it's time for me to shift. And then I started laying down the foundation, and I started doing a lot of the work, and I started listening to a lot of people that worked with, how to reprogram that subconscious mind. And I really started to look into that and started to do a lot of studying up under all of that, and really started to see how that would work for me. And it wasn't necessarily about me trying to be connected to anybody's spiritual system or belief system. This is something that worked for me. It's not about whether I believed or if I wanted to get involved in somebody's study or be up under a person, because I ain't getting up under nobody. I'm not studying up under nobody. I take what I can use and I leave the rest alone. That's the way that I operate. I'm nobody's disciple. I promise you that. So this stuff works, and this is the reason why I'm here to tell you, don't follow me, don't follow anybody else. I'm just here to present some information your way, and if this works for you, empower yourself with it. So that rosemary, that citrine, that amethyst, that's what worked for me. Those are some symbols that work for me. They say that rosemary does a whole bunch of other things. I would advise you to do some research on that rosemary, but I'm telling you, it's a powerful tool, and it definitely helped me to do that. Not only does rosemary help me to be able to stay on course with a lot of stuff, it also helps me to be able to get some mental clarity. I probably should have had a little bit of that. Just sniffed a little bit of that before I got started, because sometimes I lose my train of thought. But the other thing that I've been working with is something that really, really works, is the Kundalini yoga meditations. And so when I started raising my Kundalini, it started really propelling my progress. It cleansed out a lot of old emotions that I had, and a lot of negative energies that was within me and everything. And how it ended up cleansing up out of me is, I kind of, let a few people have it and let a lot of people know that what was really on my mind. However, it lifted like a heavy burden up off of my chest, and I was able to go ahead and move forward, because even though, it may have not been delivered in a way that people would have preferred it to be delivered. It was the truth of mine that I was speaking, and I was able to free myself with doing that. So now I'm at peace with that because I was able to free myself. So I was able to move through a lot of that. So, you know, and some people, you know what I'm saying, didn't appreciate that. And some people really did appreciate that. It didn't really matter. I mean, right now, my thing is that you're going to have to take it or leave it alone, because at that particular moment I was speaking my truth and there was a lot of things that I was working through. So you can definitely like raise Kundalini, and it can take you, you know, some places because you're moving a lot of energy that, you know, that'll probably upset a few folks, but this is your energy that you're working with. So you want to go ahead and ride through the waves. Sometimes you got to hit the bottom to get back up and go to the top. But like I said, it was something that needed to happen. Sometimes you need to just empty yourself out so that you can fill yourself back up with some new stuff. And that's how it worked out for me. So with that, I wanted to re-stress back to you all to really take advantage of the supermoon energy and start working through a lot of the blocks that you've been having. This is the time to do that. This is the time to let go of all of those habits that's not serving you. This is your time to release. This is the time to increase your gifts. This is your time to tap into any of your spiritual power. This is that time to learn something new. This is the time for that breakthrough that you've been looking for. Don't wait on somebody to do it for you. Get it done for yourself. So what I'm going to go back, just to sum up what I was saying, the best way to do it, reprogram the subconscious mind through symbols, repetition, and unfortunately trauma a lot of times. And trauma, like I said, for me was some serious pain and some aggravation and some illness that I had to go through. But guess what? I completely reversed that condition. I will not be taking no medication. I will not have to go through any operations or anything like that. I am back on track. I am feeling great. I am 50 pounds lighter, and I have no desire to go back into the direction that I was in. I can still watch people eat chicken wings. It's been a year, and you know, it does nothing for me. It doesn't make me feel sick or, you know, nauseated, and it doesn't put me off, but there's nothing there. It's just nothing. So I'm here to tell you that this works. So if you really want to see some manifestation, you definitely got to see it. You got to make this happen for you. You got to make it real for you. Visualize, see it, feel it, smell it, taste it, whatever it is, experience it. That's what you need to do. Experiences. So, I can't think of anything else that I need to say right now, so I'll check you out later. Oh yeah, I want to get back onto some of that kitchen magic because I really didn't get to get that deep into it because I was more focused on the whole process of getting those herbs together. But like I said, going back to that rosemary, that's some powerful, powerful stuff right there. Some basil, some sage. I've been doing a lot of cooking with that. There's a lot of energy that you can shift and move by just adding some of these ingredients to your food, adding these to some oils, especially that olive oil, and you want to work with a lot of that. And I can show you a few things that will be helpful in the kitchen. You definitely want to check that out because your food is your medicine, and this is some things that will heal you. It can heal your body, it can heal your mind, and it can definitely heal the spirit. So peace and love, everybody. I'm out. Catch your bell.